All right. Hello, Canadian RP friends. My name is Colin Postma, one of the elders here in Ottawa Reformed Presbyterian Church. We just wrapped up a session here in the Ottawa Church, a presenter's workshop. It was a Presbytery event that we were able to host here for several folks who are just learning about presenting. And we had the opportunity to have Pastor Brian Wright, who's from Kansas, actually, from Sterling, Kansas, come and teach a few classes for us. And we wanted to get him to provide a little bit of feedback for you, the congregation, to understand what it is we're doing here. Why are we singing in this way? And as a congregant, how do you interact with the presenter and the person who's leading up at the front in this way? So thanks, Brian.
Sure. Well, as I've worked with the presenters this weekend, I've told them that our goal as we sing the Psalms together, and especially as we lead the Psalms, is that God's people would sing Psalms in a fitting style with unity and understanding for His glory. God's people would sing Psalms in a fitting style with unity and understanding for His glory. And so what I want to do is break that down a little bit for you to think about the big picture of what we're doing here. Before I get into any of the nitty-gritty with the presenters, we looked at this big picture of what we're trying to accomplish. And the first and most important part of this goal is that we are singing for God's glory. If we are singing beautifully, if we're singing in a complicated musical way, if we're making a beautiful noise, but it's not for God's glory, then there's no point in what we're doing. In Amos chapter 5, God calls to the northern nation of Israel and says, "Take away from me the noise of your songs, to the melody of your harps I will not listen." Because they were not doing right. They were not believing and trusting in Him. They were not living lives of righteousness. He didn't want to hear their worship. And so, friends, before we get into anything about singing, about following your presenter, about learning anything about music, we must sing from the heart. Ephesians and Colossians, when we're told to sing psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs, emphasizes the heart. We sing with thankfulness in our hearts to God. And so with that in mind already then, singing for God's glory, we also want all of God's people to sing with unity. One of the great benefits of the Protestant Reformation was that we regained congregational singing. And our goal is that all of us would sing together, every member of the body singing together. And the commands in Colossians and in Ephesians to sing are to sing to one another. And so we want all of the people of the church to sing. If you don't feel like a singer, you are a singer because God has commanded you to. And so wherever each of us is in our knowledge of singing, we should be working on this. And one of the great goals of having a presenter is that we will sing with unity. Really, the job of the presenter is to have us start together, stay together, and stop together. To start singing together, to stay together in our beat as we're singing, and to stop at the same time. And so it's a wonderful picture of our unity in Christ when we're all singing together and we're starting and stopping together. We also want to make sure that we're singing in a fitting style. We have psalm books that give us tunes that fit with the words that we're singing, and some of them are more upbeat, some of them are more subdued, because some of the words are more upbeat, some of the words are more subdued. But we need to engage in the musical art of singing. It's not the same just to read the word. It wouldn't be the same if we were just reading the psalm in unison. It wouldn't be the same as a prayer. We are singing, and God has commanded us to sing, and that takes some work and some training. So I've been working this weekend to train some of your song leaders, but it's good for all of us to learn better how to sing. We also need to sing with understanding. As Paul dealt with the distractions and the confusion of worship in Corinth in 1 Corinthians, he told them in 1 Corinthians 14:26, "Let all things be done for building up." And later on in that chapter he says, "But all things should be done decently and in order." Part of the goal of having a presenter is to prevent a disorder, to prevent distraction. The idea is that we all know who we're supposed to be following, and we can stay together as we sing. So friends, as you think about what we do in our singing, we want all of God's people to sing psalms in a fitting style with unity and understanding for His glory. And so how do we do that? How do we do that well as we sing together in worship? One of the keys is to watch your presenter. And so I've been telling them this weekend, if you're in the pew, you need to hold your psalm book up. If you hold your psalm book down here, if you just keep your head down, you're not actually going to stay with the rest of the congregation because sound is slower than light. And so if you're basing what you're singing just on what you're hearing, you're going to get behind because the sound getting to you is late. So you need to keep your head up, Keep the precentor up above your psalm book so that you can see them easily as you sing. Another common challenge for people in singing is people saying that the tunes that we sing are too high. This is something I hear especially from men in the congregation. They say, all these tunes that we sing feel too high. And that's for a very good reason. It's because our speaking voices, the voice that we usually use in day-to-day interactions, is actually at the bottom of our range. So if you're talking at the bottom of your range. You have a much bigger range than you might think that you can sing. And so I'd encourage you that if you're one of those people that says all these tunes are too high, I would encourage you, maybe it's just that it feels too high. It's not what you're used to singing when you're speaking in the bottom of your range. And so give it a try. See how high you can sing. Don't, especially to you men, don't think of it as an effeminate thing or something that's not very manly to sing high notes. God has given you a range that is much higher than your speaking range. And so if you find yourself always thinking it's too high, that's something to keep in mind, that that's the way that we're made. I hope you all will sing from the heart with great conviction for God's glory together. And I'm so encouraged, having been here this weekend, to see the good work that your presenters are putting in to help you to do that in a way that is glorifying to God.